harder to cheat in Pennsylvania, easy to vote, and hard to cheat.
In Arizona, we want to make it easy to vote, but hard to cheat.
At least 18 states have enacted 31 laws with new restrictions on voting methods since the beginning of the year. The most concerning are being called election subversion laws, impacting how elections are run and who's in charge.
They didn't like the fact that
And CNN is crying about this, that the Democrats are cracking down, that the Republicans are cracking down, that the Republicans are cracking down on the Democrats cheating. And the Democrats are crying because this is Democratic CNN. Fuck
is
them.
part of a group working to safeguard U.S. democracy.
What you have with local officials, secretaries of states, and others are people who are trained to oversee elections. That's their job to do that. Now what you see in these states like Texas, Arizona, Georgia, is they're starting to pull that back and put it in the hands of the legislatures, the political legislatures.
Case in point, Georgia's Election Integrity Act of 2021. 98 pages long. It was signed into law in March by Governor Brian Kemp, repeating that Republican mantra.
This bill makes it easy to vote and hard to cheat.
Among its provisions, it strips power from the Georgia Secretary of State
Missouri.
and allows lawmakers to intervene in how counties administer and count the vote.
Sounds like it makes it easier for the politicians to cheat.
You could have that perception. You're going to have your ID with you.
Tony Adams is Heard County, Georgia's elections supervisor.
Oh, I believe it's a massive power grab. The Secretary of State has been removed as a voting member of the state election board.
Basically tossing the Secretary of State aside for a political person.
Exactly.
In Arizona, Republican legislators have made their power grab blatant, passing a law that strips some election oversight powers from the Arizona Secretary of State, currently a Democrat, and gives them to the Arizona Attorney General, currently a Republican. It expires in less than 2 years, making sure it's a Republican who oversees any disputes in the important midterm elections.
Good.
Gates says his party's big lie about
Because the
vote fraud
Democrats
is
cheat.
getting way out of
They
hand.
cheated to
I'm
get
worried
Biden
about
in.
the people who
The
look at this
Democrats
now.
are
They've
pieces of
listened to their
shit.
leaders, their Republican
They're
leaders,
cheating,
and
lying,
they're not
fucking
convinced
hellbound
that our
pieces
system
of
is
shit.
corrupt, that there's this large conspiracy, and we've yet to see many Republicans speak out and tell people, no, the election was fair, it's time to move on, enough is enough.
Fuck
In
that.
Texas, which Trump won, Republican legislators passed a law that bans drive-through and 24-hour voting favored in heavily minority Houston and creates new hurdles for mail-in voters. The Texas legislation also makes it a crime for election workers to interfere with partisan poll watchers.
We're at a tipping point as a nation.
We were poll watchers, and Republicans are poll watchers, and the Democrat fucking pieces of shit told the poll watchers to step outside and go out
After 38 days.
outside to the front patio, away from the front doors outside. That's fucked up because they cheated.
If all these election
They didn't want
laws
the
being
poll watchers
surfaced
to
in
watch them count the
Republican-led
polls.
states seem like a
Because
coordinated
they're cheating
effort,
pieces of
that's
shit.
because it is.
We have honed in on these 8 specific focus states.
A former Trump administration official who now heads up the conservative Heritage Action for America said the group had made recommendations to several states, which ended up in election-related bills.
From there, as we create this echo chamber, we're working with these state legislators to make sure they have all of the information they need to draft the bills. In some cases, we actually draft them for them, or we have a sentinel on our behalf give them the model legislation, so it has that grassroots, from the bottom up type of vibe.
Donald Trump's big lie and his party's willingness to go
Fucking
along with
CNN.
the facade is now the biggest threat to free and fair elections we face.
It used to be
The
unthinkable
Democrats are the ones
to
that cheated
contemplate
pieces of
election
shit.
subversion in the United States. It's now not only become thinkable, but become something that we need to spend the next few years guarding against. It is the greatest danger facing American democracy today.
It's dangerous, Don, because it's destabilizing, according to all the elections officials and experts we talk to. A democracy depends on the losers agreeing that the election was conducted in a fair way and agreeing to fight another day. If you don't have that acceptance, you don't have a democracy. Right now, with Donald Trump and his followers, we don't have that. Don?
Fuck that.
Sure, thank you very much for that. Our
They
election
cheated.
officials help prevent a
Joe Biden got him because he cheated.
But
with
What
all
if
the
they're
help of
able
the
to
fucking
stop
pieces
it
of
if it
shits.
happens again?